Sure.
Yo, listen up. Here's the story.
You were drinking a beer the other day.
Okay, I was drinking a beer, and anyway, welcome back.
Thanks.
To the context clues number
15?
15.
14?
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
One of those.
We're in the low teens.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we should quit now.
Well, we're way behind.
We might as well not even. Whatever.
We already got our pedophile
right.
joke out of the way.
You're right, yeah.
Now we're not belabored by it. Why am I so loud?
Is
that me?
That's me on the bottom.
No, you're on top.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
Okay, well, I'll just be loud.
I was sniffing to see if I could see the waves.
I don't know why it's different, but it is. It means I can hold it a little further from my mouth.
Maybe you were just really loud for a second.
Maybe so. Okay, I'm back to normal.
So yesterday, this isn't even an interesting story at all. I was just drinking a beer, and then I was really tired, and I was trying to think of something funny, and all I could think of was like, what if I start a band called Two Beers?
You're right, that isn't even funny.
I know.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Can you tell us about your porn name?
I've already forgot.
We were both just in my kitchen because we needed to work on some stuff, and Mike had to set up his little animation studio out there.
Wait, yeah, it was
and you were like
soap bitch.
he started laughing for no reason, and it was just and you were just like, I was trying to think of my porn name, but all I could come up with was soap bitch. Oh man.
Yeah. I like my women clean.
Me too.
Yeah.
I like my anybody clean.
Yeah, I like the squeaky clean.
Squeaky rat.
You know what? Things that smell bad turn me off, which shouldn't be a controversial statement, but it is.
Knowing us,
feet, poop, genitals, all things
that's bad.
Which can potentially stink. Butt.
You're right.
Crack.
Even among a member of his crack.
Yeah.
God, I'm still thinking about my cousin who was just like, one of us,
oh, yeah.
we were on a road trip, and one of us said the word crack. And my cousin was like playing a game on his phone, and he stopped, and he's like 13 at the time, 12 or 13 at the time, and he went, crack? You mean like butt crack?
I love it so much.
He was being real facetious, but it was so funny.
It's,
You
yeah.
mean
Like he was self-aware about it.
Oh, totally.
That's cool. I like that. What was I going to say? You had some weird dreams recently? Or was that me?
Oh, yeah. No, I did have a weird dream. My first weird dream was that I had this, like, rash of boils on my arm.
Oh.
On my left forearm. It looked normal, but then, like, if you touched it, it would swell up where you touched, like this, well, I don't know, like a huge cyst or something. And it would fill, if you touched it hard enough or for long enough, with a black sort of bloody looking liquid.
That's so weird.
And you know how a blood blister looks? You can see the thin layer of skin over the outside,
yeah.
and then the blood underneath.
I don't like
Looked
it.
like that over, literally covering my entire forearm.
Oh.
So that it was like my skin was floating on a layer of this liquid.
One time I got bit
It was disgusting.
I got bit by a spider, and I was at cross country in high school, and I didn't like it, and it was a really exhausting day. Like they were pushing us really hard. We weren't even doing our normal run. We were doing like conditioning exercises on the field or something. And I felt weird, and I like didn't want to go. And then I ended up accidentally I got bit by a spider somehow during that meeting, and I got a bump on my arm. And then I noticed that if I like messed with it, it would swell up a little bit and get bigger, and I kept doing that until it was like the size of like half an egg. And like I'm obviously exaggerating, but that's what it felt like.
Oh my God.
And then I went up to my coach and I was like, "Coach, what's happening?" And then they let me go.
Oh my God.
I got to go home because I had a big egg bite.
You were saying it was a really exhausting day, and I thought you were going to say, God, it was a really exotic spider. I don't know why.
It's a garden spider or something.
Yeah. Oh, and then my other dream, the one that I haven't told you about yet, was the sexy one.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like, it was some professor or something, some English teacher.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. No one I know. It was not a real person. It was a made-up person. But She like.
Was it at this school?
It was right here.
In your room?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know
weird.
why. It was one of those. My brain was clearly just horny.
Yeah.
What can I say? Anyway, she like handed me her phone and was like, "Here, I took screenshots of it. Don't swipe the other way though, if you know what I mean."
Oh, no.
And so I did, and it was like a bunch of nudes.
Wait, what was she showing you?
I don't know. It was like some thing. I don't even remember.
Oh.
It was just like some mundane screenshot of something, and then the other way were her nudes, and I was like, is this a signal? And
Wait, why'd you disobey her?
it was a dream.
Brady, for shame.
Yeah, I didn't drink my respect women juice that night before bed. I don't know, but anyway, after that, yeah, of course. Yeah, I had the MILF dream.
Oh.
Anyway, we were like gonna have sex. Nobody was naked yet, but maybe she was. I don't remember who. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I just remember she was like, "You have to read Streetcar Named Desire to me while we fuck."
Oh my god. Holy
Isn't that
shit.
amazing?
That's weird.
Oh my god.
Why that specifically?
I don't know.
It's
I've
not
read
even
it,
a
but I don't
horny
remember. Yeah,
book.
it's really sad.
I've read
like
it too,
weird
yeah.
and depressing.
I either read that or I read something by the same guy. I don't remember, but
Tennessee Williams.
yeah, I've read it. Did Tennessee Williams write the book about glass animals?
The Glass Menagerie.
Yeah, I read the Glass
Yeah.
Menagerie. I don't think I read Streetcar, but I read Glass Menagerie and I liked it.
I don't remember much about it. Those are both plays, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember them
You like
very
read
well.
those books, kind
Mhm.
of. Yeah, that's weird.
So those were my two dreams. The other part of the boil arm dream was that no doctor's offices were open.
Oh,
So that's
you
probably
had a Corona thing.
coronavirus fears.
Those both in the same night?
No, that the boil one was several nights ago, and the weird streetcar sex one was last night.
Oh, that reminds me of a dream that I've told you about several times, but I've never told.
I'm so glad this is about to come out
Yes,
here.
this is one of the funniest things I've ever had. This is a dream I had in 5th grade. I still remember it clear as day, exactly how it sounded. I had a weird gym teacher in 5th grade, and he was like
Sorry for the noise.
He was a really tall, gangly guy with like a pot belly, and he was like old. He was like in his 40s, and well, maybe he was older than that. I don't know. He had a big beard. He kind of looked like PewDiePie, but like PewDiePie mixed with like an old farmer.
Weird.
And I didn't hate him. I kind of hated him. He was really annoying. He wasn't mean, but he was annoying. And I had a dream that I went into gym at that school, and there were these devices set up that looked like, in the gymnasium, that looked like the springy animals at playgrounds that little kids ride on, but it was just like a blue block with a grip on it that you could hold on to. And several of my real life friends in my dream were
You good?
okay, several of my real life friends in my dream were humping these blocks with their clothes on. And apparently what it was like they were teaching people how to fuck in class or something. And I remember the thing I remember the most is my gym teacher was like walking around checking on people, and he was like, "I didn't know you boys had it in you." And that's all I remember.
That's really funny.
It was really strange.
Oh
I
man.
remembered that my whole life.
I don't know what to say to that. I think I'm too loud. I'm gonna turn me down. Okay, that's probably good. Wait. Yeah.
So anyway, coronavirus is happening.
God, I know. It's the weirdest
Weird
thing.
and surreal. I don't really like it. I'm enjoying some parts of it, but most of it I'd rather not.
Well, I almost feel guilty because I've been enjoying
Don't feel
my
guilty.
self-imposed quarantine so much. Like, given the choice, I would do this all the time.
Yeah.
I'm
That's okay.
I'm very much an introvert.
That's fine.
So
And I think that's why it's harder for me, is because I've discovered since joining college that I'm not an introvert.
since I was
really
hired by college.
I like need social interaction to not go insane, and so that's why I'm here with Brady right now.
Yay.
Because it helps. And I don't know, we've still got like Discord and stuff, but it's like I miss going out into the world and walking around and talking to people and stuff, and I can't wait to get it back.
It's very weird. I absolutely do not miss it yet.
Well, we're also like,
I'm
that's
enjoying
okay.
this
Well,
thoroughly.
we're different people, but it's also like, we're not gonna go back to school apparently.
Yeah,
like we're taking classes still.
For the rest of the semester, our classes will be online.
But
it's really annoying.
That doesn't mean we can't go back to the school and like hang out once this thing cools down. And like, I think like maybe we can still go to the frog pond and.
That'd be nice.
And maybe the restaurants will open again and stuff.
Well, I mean, we could go there now. They're not going to kick us off campus, are they?
Yeah, no, they're not. But I feel kind of bad about it because I'm not like super paranoid about the virus or anything. But I would feel guilty about like indulging in myself and doing that while potentially making things worse for other people or making the virus last longer. Or maybe that's an irrational thing, but that's just kind of what my brain is leaning towards. You know, it's like because I think the thing is because like I don't like seeing those news reports of like spring breakers where they're all like out together during this thing and they're just kind of ignoring things, and the way they talk about it is like so selfish. Like, I don't know if you've seen any of like those videos.
No, I haven't.
It's really weird, and it's just like I don't want to be like that. You know, it's like
I think that's admirable.
I don't want to like indulge in myself because I don't think what we're doing now, like coming over to your house, is that bad. But like going out in big groups or going and doing things, like I really wanted to keep going to my pole dancing classes, and I was considering doing that, but then that got shut down, so I didn't even have to make the decision.
Yeah.
So there's that at least.
Yeah, that got shut down while you were texting me about whether or
I
not
know.
you should still go.
I know.
It was
like,
really
well,
kind of funny.
It takes a lot off my mind. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it all getting better.
What was I going to say? To the end of like, you don't think that coming over here is bad, and I agree. Kaya did bring up a good point the other day. They were like, when they say groups of 4, does that mean don't interact with more than 4 people in a day if you can help it?
I didn't think of that.
Or like groups of 10?
I don't think so. Because what if you saw them all one at a time? Then it's like, what difference would it make? I guess that would make
it's the same thing.
That would make the probability maybe like slightly higher, but not that bad. I woke up with a headache this morning, and I was like, "Oh no, coronavirus!" But no, it went away, and I'm fine.
I keep having this really weird sharp pain over my right eyebrow.
Oh, is that a symptom?
No, I just you reminded me of headaches, but I know it's not coronavirus because I don't have any other symptoms.
Sometimes I get a scratchy throat, and then it goes away, and I'm like, "Oh no, a sore throat! It's already spreading."
It's very weird how paranoid and how differently people are living their lives already.
I'm very
like 1 week in.
I'm very prone to going into like paranoid downward spiral, so I'm trying very hard to like stay calm and not let this like consume me.
This has not really gotten to me yet.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, because it doesn't. My ideal daily routine is I interact with very few people, except the people that I care for the most.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing that.
Well, see, that's interesting, and I don't think it's bad that you're enjoying it. Like I think it'd be better. Like I wouldn't want to wish unhappiness upon you, and I don't think you should feel guilty because I'd want everyone to be as happy as they can while this is happening. But I don't know. It's harder for me, I think, because like my general thing isn't like keep to myself. It's like I like to go out and meet new people and talk to people and socialize and stuff, and I can't do that anymore. And it's like, it's hard adjusting so abruptly. You know.
Yeah.
It's like this is why I usually hate summer vacation. It's because it feels like this.
That's true. I do eventually, like summer vacation. I very quickly.
Yeah, me too. It happens to me on weekends.
Get
too,
yeah, that's fast.
I get
that's happening.
weekend sadness really fast.
I don't know why right now is different because like summer break, I left last summer and I got depressed immediately for like a week.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't seeing any of my friends. I'd also just started dating Kaya at that time, so it was like I didn't want to leave them either.
Yeah.
But I don't know why that isn't the case right now. Maybe it's because I sort of have, and I don't know what to make of this, but anytime there's some big, not disaster, that's the wrong word, but like this isn't a disaster. But anytime there's some huge event, positive or negative.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it either.
I sort of get excited. Like,
well, it is a little exciting in the sense like, oh, this is going to be history maybe. Or it's like at least a big event that we're all experiencing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like an intrinsic excitement.
I see that. I understand that.
It happens with bad things too.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time it would have happened. Like, not horrific, obviously, because I get scared just like anybody else.
Yeah.
But sometimes, Nat just landed on my microphone. Sometimes, like, it doesn't sink in how bad things are, because I'm too busy being excited about something different is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No, I see that too, and I get that, but if it was gonna be something like that, I'd prefer it to be a positive change than like something like this. I mean, I it's still there when it's a negative thing, but it's weird. I just feel kind of restless, I think. I'm just anxious for this to be over in my mind. Because it's like I sometimes have enjoyed like waking up in the morning and it's like, okay, I don't have to go to school. I could just make coffee and start working on my animation or my homework or whatever. Maybe it's not affecting you the same because you still have school, and so you still kind of have like the school routine.
Yeah, I don't have school. What are you talking about?
It's online school.
Oh, the like meeting for classes?
Well, it's still school. You still have to do homework, right?
But when I didn't have that for like the first 4 days of this, I didn't
That's right.
feel bad.
Huh. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad thing, and I don't know if there's an explanation necessarily. But
I'm kind of thinking I feel better.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's what you needed.
Maybe I needed to recharge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it hit eventually.
Well, that's an introvert thing, because like introverts, like they get energy when they're away from people, and like being around people for too long like drains their energy. And I think for me, it's like I feel like I have less energy because extroverts get energy from being around people.
That's crazy
like,
to me.
To me, like going to Yana's class where everyone is and talking to them, that to me is recharging. Like that's getting energy, and like that boosts me up and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So it's like I don't have that, and it's like the best I could do is Discord and like coming over and talking to you and stuff. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't relate to that. For me, it's always such an effort to go, and I mean, like I even enjoy all of my classes mostly.
Yeah.
Like to some degree, I enjoy all of them, and I enjoy the people in them, but it's still such an effort, and it like takes it out of me to go and be around people.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
I think that's literally what defines someone as an introvert or an extrovert.
Yeah. It's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just like,
yeah,
it takes it. It's like if, let's pretend I enjoyed running.
Yeah.
It's still an effort.
Yeah. Or like, just say art. Art is still an effort, but I can do it for hours and hours because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Whereas like if there's something that is easy but I don't like it, then it's a lot harder to do than art.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, washing dishes or something. Like I hate washing dishes.
Yeah.
I hate cleaning anything really.
I love cleaning.
That's okay.
I want to vacuum my room. Thanks. Oh man.
That's never a thing that I get. I never get like a desire to clean things. I never like, man, I just want to get home so I can vacuum my floor. It's like that never crosses my mind ever.
I'm anxious to clean up my room right now, but I don't know when I'll have time.
It looks fine to me, babe.
Like, thanks. I keep putting off folding my laundry. You can see it over there to your right. That you looked.
That?
Yeah.
Looks folded.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, I didn't even notice it until you pointed it out. Mm-hmm.
Really makes you accept each other's differences.
Does it?
Yep.
Okay.
What to accept when you're accepting. I like
that too.
I thought about gentrification complete.
Oh yeah! I said the word gentrification in a robot-y voice on accident, and then Brady shouted complete in a robot voice. And it made me think of like a robot hipster walking through a downtown and zapping everything with a laser.
And it turns into unfinished brick wall, metal stool.
It turns into like things that it turns into like
custom vintage neon sign,
like oven roasted pizzas or whatever. What is it fucking called?
Brick oven.
Yeah.
Brick fired.
Yeah.
Pizza oven.
Something like that.
Brick fired. Wood fired.
Brick fired.
You feed the fire with bricks.
Which is actually very tasty.
Wood fired
pizza.
Things
that feel very poor but which cost a lot.
Craft paper menu.
Yeah, craft
Edison
beer,
bulb.
craft macaroni.
It's like fettuccine Alfredo.
That I fucking love.
just
I
mac and
love
cheese.
fettuccine. It's true. It's adult mac and cheese.
Well, I'm quoting Aaron from Sonic Adventure.
Oh.
Where they talked about macaroni for a long
Oh yeah.
time. Man, I never finished that series for a second time. That was the first one I watched all the way through, but
I watched the first episode with you at that place.
Yeah.
I didn't watch anymore.
damn, remember when we could eat out?
I know.
I do kind of miss that. I did it yesterday. I went to Black Crown.
Oh really? They're
Yeah.
still doing shit down there?
Yeah, but it's very weird. You're not allowed to sit. It's only pickup.
Whoa.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
All the tables were turned over.
A lot of restaurants which don't usually do takeout are doing takeout now. Like you can do it with. Well, I guess you could always do it with Olive Garden.
I knew it was gonna be Olive Garden.
I'm just on my mind.
Yeah.
I wanna eat out so fucking much. You know what though? The quarantine has been helping me save money
Yeah.
from not eating out and not being around stores and making me want to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and I need to save money too to buy an apartment. So I don't know. It's got its ups and downs.
Yeah. It's very weird. It's odd.
It's going to be a point in history. I'm hoping, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do the podcast during this, is because it's like in the future we can look back and be like, oh, remember when that big weird thing happened and now it's over?
Yeah, I hope the 18-month projections are off.
Is that what they are now? 18 months?
A year and a half.
I thought it was supposed to be over by April 10th.
No, they're going to reevaluate on April 10th.
Oh.
They're saying we don't know because
18 months is a year and
it's
more.
a year and a half.
Damn.
I will have 2 birthdays
They're in quarantine.
if that's the case.
Is that...
I will go in at 21 and come out at 23. Yeah.
So that's with the curve being flat, which is the
Yes.
safe one, but it takes a long time. So it would be over faster if we didn't care and everyone died.
I don't like where this is going.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I'm just
Yeah.
saying the facts. It's
Yeah,
like,
if we couldn't treat everybody,
yeah.
it would happen faster. The disease would spread because it was untreated so fast, and
Yeah.
we'd have a lot of deaths.
That sucks.
I don't know. That's what they're saying. I'm sure no one really knows what's going on.
18 months.
Like, there's a schedule for vaccines.
Holy shit.
I was hearing Kaya's
Shit's gonna get real, dude.
mom talk about how vaccines take like 15 months to produce, but
Oh.
extenuating circumstances, they'll probably accelerate that because everybody's working on it.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
everyone who can, I'm sure, is working
That's
on
gonna
a
be
coronavirus
incredible
vaccine.
when that comes out.
Yeah, shit is gonna get real.
But what if it can't? What if it actually is like the flu, where it can't have a vaccine because it changes or something?
Well, then they're gonna work to get like treatment.
Oh. Yeah, because I guess we don't die of the flu anymore, so they can.
Well, we do.
Well, yeah, but not so often that it's like if you get it, you have to fear for your life.
I think it's really
Don't people still die from the flu more than coronavirus? But maybe that's just because it hasn't been around long enough.
by numbers, I think. Well, the flu definitely has more. What I think is kind of scary is that the Spanish flu in 1918 killed 2 to 3% of the people it infected.
Mm-hmm.
And it killed 18 million people or something like that. It was more, maybe.
Oh.
Was it? I don't remember. Don't throw away that number.
Wait, when was the Spanish flu?
1918.
Oh, in 1918. Okay.
Spanish flu killed a ton of people,
Yeah.
and coronavirus is deadlier.
Has it already killed more people?
No, but it kills more of the people it infects.
That is really scary.
It's 3.5%.
Damn.
About 3.4.
Which doesn't sound bad on the surface, but I guess it is considering how big the population is.
Yeah,
What are we, 4 billion something? Is that wrong?
like close to 8.
8 billion?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was only half wrong. I'm thinking of like the age of the universe or something. It's like 4.6 billion or
13.7.
Oh, never mind. I don't know what I'm thinking. Wait, isn't the age of the Earth 4 billion?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
like
what I
4.5
knew. It was
billion, yeah.
something of space was old that much. So anyway, showing any symptoms yet?
Not yet.
Me neither.
Trying to look my quarantine chicest.
But okay, so the 18 months, it's like that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna stay exactly the way we're treating things now that long, right?
No,
like, it'll kind of relax on the down, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I hope this isn't like we're gonna do this for 18 months, no matter what.
That would be suck.
I would agree.
I want this thing to peak really soon.
But if we peak, people die. If we do the steep peak.
Well, no, I know.
Oh, you mean
you
want it to crest? You want it to be done?
I want it to crest.
Okay.
Is what I mean. I'm not saying we should speed it up on purpose.
I want it to Colgate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't heard any evidence to support one timeline or another because it's probably irresponsible of me, but I really just am tired of being flooded with media about it.
No, that's understandable.
And I'm doing what I can. I stay in my house. I don't really go out places. I wash my hands and Lysol wipe as much as I realistically can and should.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about...
I avoid old people just like usual.
Good.
Same as it ever was.
Don't make eye contact.
Mm-hmm. It can now spread through lust. Just kidding.
Was that the chair?
Yeah. I couldn't do it again.
All right. I'm watching you farting in your room. Okay, I heard it. Okay, so we were talking earlier about, like, if a virus like this can happen this fast and, like, out of nowhere, then it's like, what's to stop it from happening again once this one's over? But it's also like, I hope that after this we'll be more prepared for when the next one comes. We'll have more of an understanding of what to expect and what to do ahead of time.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because certainly it is scary, the fact that it can be this bad this quickly.
We had if we're going to take a big long break like this, it's better for me if I can expect it, like, oh, we're going to stop going to school in a few weeks or whatever, but it's just like randomly like, nope, you're done, goodbye. It's just happened out of nowhere. It's so unpredictable. And that's the thing that was the worst about it to me.
We didn't get a chance to say goodbye, and that sounds very dramatic, but we really didn't. And I'm graduating this semester.
I'm not, so I might go back to school next year, but or next semester, whatever. But it's so sad because I liked a lot of those people in those classes, and I liked to talk to them, and I didn't get to say goodbye, and it's weird.
It was very odd. Yeah, now these
just
people...
feels very...
It's unresolved
and dystopian. Yeah, it feels unresolved.
I just feel completely unresolved entirely.
It's called edging.
Yeah, but this isn't good. They're not going to let us come for 18 months.
I know! Yeah.
The 18-month edging session. Oh, boy.
This is kind of a downer of an episode.
Yeah.
I mean, but what else is there to talk about?
No, that's the thing. If you aren't talking about coronavirus, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, it is weird.
It's very weird. I don't... know what to expect. I don't know. I'm scared of how people will react.
Already. I was one of the people at the beginning. I didn't really take this that seriously, which, like, I used to kind of think, like, oh, it's not going to be that bad. And I still wish I could go out and do things, and I wanted to, but I think I'd better just, like, follow the rules for now.
I might be depressed.
Really? Oh.
Oh, I just figured it out. Because, like, I was thinking... about what excites me right now or what causes me to feel strong emotion. Nothing.
I think
I think, and that's what always lets me know that I'm not doing well.
Yeah.
Is when nothing excites me. So maybe it is getting to me.
Maybe you just.
But it's manifesting as like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah, that could happen.
That's very weird.
I think, like, for me, my animation still excites me, but it's like exciting me less than it did when I could go still see my friends, which is weird.
Yeah, right now I'm starting to miss my old routine.
Yeah,
it just happened. We
really?
caught it
Did
live
I
on
do that
mic.
To you? Did
maybe I don't know.
Talking to that ruin your brain?
No, it didn't ruin my brain.
Okay.
My brain was ruined, and I had to realize it. Well, not ruined.
Fear is the biggest virus.
Mike, you're really too hot for words sometimes.
Oh,
so shut up.
Let me just zip up my jacket.
Well, let me just zip down my fly. I hope that picked up.
The sound of my cock. Oh, it's awful.
It's the laminated paper wobbling sound.
I've never seen you touch your balls in front of me before.
I was moving my pants around.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they all say.
Trump has been saying some weird things lately.
But what else is new? Oh.
Zing.
Yeah. What has he been saying? I'm actually
saying things
curious.
About coronavirus.
Oh, you were talking about like
I'm
these
a wartime
soldiers,
president.
These soldiers and doctors, they're almost as brave as I am.
It was someone specific. He was like, they're working almost as hard as me and Mike Pence are.
God, I hate that.
It was someone specific who did something really cool, and I don't remember who it was.
The less Mike Pence is doing, the better.
Mm-hmm. What was I gonna say?
Na 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 na.
Na,
na na na.
But yeah, he's trying to take responsibility for like being he was saying he's a wartime president because it's the war against coronavirus.
Oh God,
and stuff like that. He's trying to I'm gonna be responsible, and if we find a cure and it gets better, he's obviously gonna take responsibility for that. Even if he's not doing anything.
Fuck that guy. He was the one who also said, "Just ignore it and it'll blow over." That was his advice early on in this.
Well, he's the kind of person who I think he's gonna say his formula is say what is going to make people feel the most safe, but specifically people who already like him. Mm-hmm. That's why he said like build the wall, all this, like everything is because he knows that these people specifically, like these weird backwoods conservatives who had all these ideas, they're less backwood. They're more frontwoods than you think. Well, and they are now. Yeah. Maybe they weren't before, but they are now partly because of him. And it's because like he said those things because he's like, oh, he knows how much those people like are afraid of Mexicans and stuff. Mm-hmm. You know. That's a good point. And so he was like, oh, these people are so scared. I know what's gonna make them vote for me and give me power. I'll say exactly what they want to hear. He tells people what they want to hear. Yeah, and so that's what he's doing with these people. It's like at first he's gonna say like, oh, just don't worry about it and continue doing whatever you're doing because he knows that that's what people want to hear. And then later when they are worried and can't keep doing what they're doing, he'll be like, it's okay, we've been working all along. And I'm secretly a hero. Yeah. And I'll say, and if he fails, then he just blames it on someone else already. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like he never got the wall done. And so, of course, he's going to blame that on like the left or some other people. Or the government or whatever. It's crazy. Yeah. Crazy how well that duped us. Yeah. Collectively. And I mean, all presidents and politicians have like their tactics and stuff. Oh, of course. Yeah. This is not limited to Trump. He just does it so blatantly. Yeah. And it's even like so egregiously. I'll admit, I'm a Bernie bro. I like the burn, but I'm also gonna, I voted for him. I'm not a registered Democrat. So you're not? I wasn't able to vote in the primary. But I don't know. I haven't paid attention in the past couple days how well he's doing or not. I think he's going to lose to Biden, and that sucks. It does suck because I did like what I was going to say is if Bernie got elected, I still would like not want to like suck his dick, you know, and just think that everything he does is good. I just think he's the best option. I think so too. I think he seems a little like. He's kind of an anti-Trump. Yeah, he knows what he knows, and he doesn't like he has his several areas that he's super knowledgeable on, and I think he has great ideas. Yeah. And then other ones, I've seen him sort of like when flummoxed, he'll turn back to what he knows, which of course is what anybody does. Well, yeah. And then the complaint about that is like, well, then he's not going to be a good president, but that's why presidents have a cabinet. Yeah, that's true. And I trust him to pick a cabinet of educated individuals who know what they're talking about and can talk to him about it. Bloomberg dropped out, right? He's over? After Elizabeth Warren murdered him on live television. Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be Biden, but... Biden just seems like the coward's choice. No, yeah, I know. It's like, it's safe, he's sort of centrist. Yes, exactly. He seems like the centrist choice. And I really actually don't like to shit on centrists because I don't think they're all as bad as people say, of which I see why people don't like them. But I don't think that they're all stupid cowards. But like, no, sometimes you just have a balance of ideas. But yeah, I don't think we need a balance of ideas right now. Because, no, I like that Bernie is so like, so forceful. And I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. What I'm thinking is like, you see that motivational air quotes thing that's like 1 raised to the 100th power is 1, but 1.01 raised to the 100th power is like 37 or something. What does that mean in this context? It means like if you keep doing a little bit more, like if you
do the same thing every day, it's going to stay the same. But if you do
That is
just
interesting.
1% more every day
Yeah.
for 100 days, it'll be
Well, you know what's
a huge improvement. And that's what a centrist now feels like to me.
or at least
We've entered the uninformed political opinion section of our podcast.
hell
So
fucking yeah, this is when shit gets real.
make sure to disregard after listening.
Listen with discretion.
Yeah, make sure to
like.
burn after listening. Burn after voting. But BERN.
Yes.
Anyway.
Burn. Anyway, but I know what you're saying, and it's like I don't think that Biden as a president is going to be that much better than Trump. I think he is going to be like a little bit better.
I think he's going to be mediocre.
Do you? Are you going to vote for Biden if there's
of course.
I mean, I think I will
can't
too.
not.
But it's
I'm not
like,
going to vote for Trump.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you could also like not vote at all. But then that's also like
waste.
That's
waste
like
of the one power I have.
And, yeah, I know, and that's like the train thing. It's like the inaction still.
The trolley problem.
Yeah. But I mean,
let's not talk about that.
Okay, no, I know I'm not going to go into that, but I'm guessing because that's what people keep saying. It's like people who like Bernie who are gonna end up voting for Biden. It's like damage reduction, which I guess is like the best argument I can see for voting for Biden. Which I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's going to be worse than Trump. Who knows?
God, but at least
who knows?
Well, then I fall back on at least he's a Democrat.
Well, I mean, I don't like the blue no matter who thing either, because it's like
there
could potentially be a good Republican president. It's
sure,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I can't think of one.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of one too.
But I mean, I don't like the idea of blue no matter who, because that seems so arbitrary. And there's also the difference between like progressive Democrats and establishment Democrats, which it's kind of a hard thing to distinguish sometimes. But I think of establishment Democrats as like Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, people like that, people who like they want to maintain the status quo while having like this air of leaning into being progressive.
They seem Democratic in like title only.
Yeah.
Like if you told me they were running as a Republican, I'd believe you.
Yeah. They still, or you know, like I think Al Gore is kind of like that too. And Al Gore's wife is very like anti-porn and
really.
And I think she might consider herself a feminist, but she's kind of like the sex negative feminist who's like porn is bad because it's bad for women or something, or it's like the kind of feminist who's like you can't have women with big boobies because men like it. You know?
Oh, wow.
It's like one of those. It's like that to me is like a very like establishment Democrat kind of pretending you're progressive, but you're actually holding things that a conservative might agree with.
Yeah.
You know?
Huh.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, I guess you can be a progressive Republican. 'Cause
I know some conservatives who are not you can also be like
there's also
socially
progressive
and economically fiscal and things like that.
Yeah, because economically conservative is just like I don't know. I was gonna say.
Well, that would be like maybe you support capitalism more.
Or
like you support big businesses, but you also like you don't have a huge faith in organized commercial religions, and you like sex and stuff.
You know, God, imagine electing someone who liked sex. Kaya was bringing up something super interesting yesterday when we were talking sort of about this.
Was this after I left?
Political.
Or was I still there?
This was after.
Okay.
And yeah, we were back at their place for a little while, and I just remember they talked about how it's so hard to compromise now because issues have become so tied to identity, and they gave me an explanation of what identity politics is. And so like
I know about that. Yeah.
So like they were saying like they could in theory vote for a Republican, but if they still voted with their party against like trans rights, they can't support that as a trans person.
Yeah.
And like
if a Democrat was anti-trans, you mean?
No.
Oh.
If a Republican.
Well, there's Republicans who aren't anti-trans. Some of them.
Sure, but would they get elected? Would Republicans elect them if they were?
I have no idea. I mean, how can I say? It's like
I know.
anyone say?
And I'm really messing up what Kaya told me, but they said basically like so many issues now are tied to who you are. It's not just how you feel about something anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know, I think it might have always been like that though. I don't know if that's different now. I think.
Yeah, and so I wonder like, well, how did we ever compromise?
Well, that was literally like I think what I tried to do is like I used to think like we should try to keep emotions out of politics. But I don't agree with that anymore because it's like you can't really, and it's like the reason you have political opinions is because you care about something on an emotional level. It's like, of course, you should still have like logic and stuff, but if you're only logic and no emotions, then it's just a computer, you know. And it's like I have opinions because I care about this or that or what's going to happen if we don't have this or if we have too much of that. And so it's like I think what you need to keep out of politics for the most part is how. Like, you have to take your political opinions away from your self-worth, is what you think. Because then it's like, if your political opinions are tied to your self-worth, then when someone challenges it, you'll start to go into denial, or you'll start to be like, I'm not going to listen to this person, and I'm going to make up some roundabout way of describing why they're wrong, just so that I can
preserve my self-worth.
I think that's one of the reasons we have the big, huge political divide right now. It's because people on both sides they're so like, I don't want to compromise because me winning this political argument has more to do with how I feel about myself and my intelligence and me as a person than it does about the issue at hand.
Yeah. And that's, have we forgotten how to admit we're wrong?
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's like getting criticized for your opinion can have, if you look at it the right way, can have two possible effects which are both good. One of them is you can realize that you're wrong and have a better opinion, or the criticism can help you understand your own opinion better, because it's like, oh, okay, now I have a more nuanced way to look at it now that someone has pointed out a potential flaw that it has, you know. And so that's why that's why I still watch like Steven Crowder and stuff, even though like stuff like that makes me mad sometimes. It's like I would still like to see what people are thinking and maybe understand why they're thinking. I watch Jordan Peterson and stuff still, even though it's like I disagree with a lot of his opinions. It's still like, this is either going to change my mind or it's going to help me understand what I already believed. Because I hate the idea of believing something and taking it for granted and only believing in it for a superficial reason, like because somebody told me, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
I think this all started because Kaya and I have started rewatching The West Wing.
Is that a movie?
It's a show.
Oh.
It's a really phenomenal show.
What's it about?
The West Wing of the White House.
Oh, for some reason I immediately jumped to Sleeping Beauty, the Beauty and the Beast.
Is that the West Wing?
Like, don't go into the West Wing where the rose is.
I've only seen all those Disney movies one time, and I forget how they all go. I've only
seen that a couple times, but yeah,
something
to do with that.
Yeah, West Wing is about like the president and his staff, mostly about the staff.
How old is this movie? Show?
It's from the 90s. 7 seasons. It's really good. My dad and I started watching it a while back.
I want to watch more Twin Peaks.
Me too. I just started season 2 of that. Well, just started. Like, when I was still in high school, my dad and I would watch that.
I watched
late
it
at night.
A little bit going out of or starting college, and then I got out of it somehow.
It's real slow, but it's enjoyable.
Anyway, what were you talking about?
Well, we were watching The West Wing, and it's super good, and there were some issues that were still relevant. And anyway, I don't remember. You said something about self-worth. I thought that was really cool, like not tying things to your self-worth. And I think
used to do that with like. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's like I used to do that with like when I was in high school and stuff, with opinions about things that weren't as important, like movies and music. It's like if somebody criticized a song that I loved, for some reason I would get upset because it was like that song is a part of my identity.
God, me too.
And like my musical taste, like I wanted to know that I was a person who had good taste in music and movies.
I don't believe in good taste.
Yeah, I don't either anymore. But that's how it used to be, and I think people do that with politics and stuff.
Yeah, I still find myself doing that. Like the music thing, I still have to catch myself being like, it doesn't matter what music you listen to.
Yeah, I'm still evolving.
Because I have a penchant for just trashy electronic music.
Yeah.
Like no real redeeming features.
Okay.
I just like it.
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? Oh, I'm trying to untie my self-worth from more things, like how funny I am.
I think that's really
or
important.
how well I draw.
And that doesn't even necessarily mean identity either, because it's like my music and my art and my movies that I love are always going to be part of my identity. But I think you can also have identity separated from self-worth.
Yes, your identity does not have to be... Your sense of self-worth does not have to be synonymous with your identity.
Exactly. And that's hard for a lot of people, I think. And it was hard for me.
Still hard for me.
Yeah. And I think part of it is because like your identity should be constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
You should be constantly reinventing yourself and becoming more like nuanced in your things. But
your identity...
It can't do that if it's tied to yourself.
By law, must be fluid like your gender. We're outlawing genders. Nobody gets one. We all have to share... Nothing.
You want to know how I feel about...
Abolish pronouns. Fuck that post.
I know, I hated that. What was I going to say before?
Sorry, I went on a dumbass tangent.
No, it's okay.
We have nothing to fear but queer itself.
Fear the queer. And I'm never going to make a shirt that says that. I was about to suggest maybe making that one, but I was like, that's going to be too hard for people to understand that I'm wearing it ironically. Unless I'm in full drag or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing things ironically has lost its charm for me.
It depends.
No, it hasn't, but it's a touchy issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's because it's like my MO for humor is saying things that I disagree with in a very exaggerated way.
Yeah.
But that's an extremely thin line to walk on because people who really believe those things also say them in exaggerated ways.
Yeah, your humor is...
It's the pose law.
Is pose law. I was just thinking about the time when I told Kaya about how you were making a legalized sex sticker or patch, and I was like, I would wear that on a shirt, and they were like, don't do that. Yeah. You'll look like an incel. Yeah. And I was like, thank you. You saved me.
Yeah.
I needed that outward perspective, outside perspective.
To a certain degree, though, I still would I would still preach the idea that, like, I don't think that people are responsible for how they're interpreted. Even if you're doing it so blatantly badly, like your irony, that it doesn't look at all like you're doing it ironically, I would still say that, like, the people judging you, it's their responsibility how they judge you before they get to know you. But I also think, like, you still have some control over, like, the general, like, how you present your ironic statements and stuff, but you still don't have control over the fact that people will misinterpret it.
Yes, but if I were to wear something like that in public, I would feel bad that I was possibly making people uncomfortable for no good reason.
True, but I mean, the problem with that I see is that you can't ever be sure that you're not making someone uncomfortable.
But I can...
Like, you could wear a Harry Potter shirt and someone could think you're satanic.
Well, then it's just where I choose to draw my line.
That's true. Yeah, and everyone has a different line. Like, my line's different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. Like, I would wear the legalized sex thing in public and not feel guilty about it.
Maybe my line is just longer than yours. Doesn't even make sense. Yeah. Oh, my. Looking at your perfect stair-step laugh. Not so good.
It didn't work anymore.
Has to be natural.
It looks like trees on a lake.
Oh, dude.
Isn't that cool?
Looks like we're just turning around an infinite lake.
Hell yeah.
Now we're just being stupid staring at a thing. Yeah, I know. We need that dead air sign.
Yeah, I
was thinking about that. We should hook up a microphone. It should be somehow hooked up to the mic input.
So it comes on?
It comes on when there's a pause.
Oh my god. Well, I can, when I make the animation, I can put that in the animation background and make it light up specifically when we're not talking.
That's a lot of work, right?
Yeah, so, I don't know. I'll do it anyway. Well, anyway. I was going to say, so I have a weird opinion about gender. That, like, I actually do believe in the gender binary. Only my understanding of it is that they represent, like, two extremes. And then there's an infinite amount of possible gender identities and expressions in between.
I believe that's the widely accepted progressive viewpoint. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
no one's denying that the binary exists, but they're denying that it's a necessary distinction to say that there are only two.
Yeah, I agree.
That's saying like, that's like there are only geniuses or stupid people.
Oh yeah, it's a very black and white way
yeah,
of looking at it.
and ignoring, like, if you aren't a genius, you're stupid.
And I think
let's not choose which gender is genius and which is stupid, because that's not cool. But
part of what I think makes it so hard for people is that we have such a lack of an understanding of what gender is, and it's still confusing to me too. And like I think most people, it's a very difficult concept.
It's still confusing to hashtag me too. We're not
Let's
touching
not talk
it.
about that today.
We're
At
not
least not
touching it.
today.
Yeah.
Maybe someday when I don't know. Maybe not.
What was I gonna say? Oh, it's difficult. I was gonna say it's like looking at the tails of a bell curve and cutting out the bell, but it's not even because gender. There are, like, you were talking about intersex, like, bodies, people with
oh yeah, there are some people
anatomical.
Some people.
All I can think of is parts,
dicks and vaginas.
With
or
anatomy
hybrid.
that wouldn't fall cleanly into either distinct gender.
Oh, because we were talking about, like, how small does your dick have to be before it becomes a
clitoris? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, boy, that's a weight off my mind. It's a race to the bottom, and I'm in the lead.
So, but then that doesn't make sense though, because then, like, if you have a big dick, that could just be a huge clitoris.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the stupidest thing. I couldn't think of anything
ever
to say. Maybe we should cut this out.
No, we're leaving it in raw and unlubed.
2020 truly hasn't used any lube so far.
I remember what I wanted to say. So I think the theory that, like, people hold things to their self-worth, I think that might be an explanation for, like, SJWs and, like, their behavior. And especially, like, because people don't understand, like, why is, like, Tumblr specifically a place where all these left-wing people who are very militant about their beliefs and have, like, really weird ass versions of the beliefs, like, why are they all on Tumblr? And I think it's because Tumblr became a place where people who feel insecure tend to go and find a community. And so maybe that insecurity is like or like the way they act with their political beliefs is like a projection of that insecurity. Like, they have these beliefs as a replacement for the insecurity that they felt, and that's why they're so unwilling to hear an outside viewpoint, and that's why they stay in their echo chamber, because they're like, if anything, even if they don't think of this consciously, it's like, if anything challenges my belief system, then
it's a direct attack to my personal identity.
It's a direct of me and my self-worth. It's like, and I'm going to have to reassess everything now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you said that I thought belief replacement therapy. But also, I thought...
I like that.
I bet... Oh, I want to go back briefly to the bell curve thing, because, like, intersex bodies happen. People are born that way. But what happens is we have, like, a double bell curve where there's two peaks, one in the area we call masculine and one in the area we call feminine, or male and female.
That's a weird way.
And so those in-between places are real, and they're perfectly normal to happen.
Wait, so masculine and feminine are the tops of the bell curves, No,
it's this shape.
Yeah. Wait, what?
It's a double bell. It's one over here.
So there's masculine and feminine.
And each of those has a bell, and then the tail meets in the middle. Let me just draw it.
It's confusing. No, I can see it, but it's like...
Well, that's just how...
Why wouldn't you put... So then... It doesn't make sense to me, because it's like I think of the extremes of masculine and feminine as being the very ends.
No, it's the number of people. It's not extremes.
Oh, I was
the height of the bell curve is number of people.
I was thinking of, like, how masculine or how feminine was the y-axis.
No.
Okay, that makes sense. Because that would, I think, just be a normal... Well, that doesn't make sense either.
Yeah, it's number of people, and then...
Oh, I didn't know that. So this is like a statistical thing.
Y-axis is number of people. X-axis is... like masculine in one direction, feminine in the other, and there are two peaks.
That's interesting.
Twin peaks.
Yeah.
But
wait, so what's the middle?
The middle is like
androgynous?
Yeah, people born with anatomy or features and I'm talking purely biological here, because I don't.
Then what is
too deep a thing to get into?
What is on the outside edges of the bell curves?
I don't know, people just with, like, extreme traits of either of the typical gender binaries.
Regardless of what they are?
Yeah.
Huh. That's really. I've never seen that.
There'll always
before.
be Tails.
Yeah.
Tails and Sonic, the two genders. There won't ever be like a straight cutoff of like you can only be this masculine or it's.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And I guess masculine and feminine are typically used for gender identity and not gender, and not sex. What we're talking about here is your sex.
Yeah. Okay.
So I want to make that clear.
Yeah, I was also confused.
Gender identity is regardless of any of those factors.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, I was thinking back to the Tumblr thing. I was wondering if there's a correlation, one, between the internet and our polarization politically. And
I think there is.
Absolutely, I do too. But also, two, between internet community size and how much of an echo chamber it is.
Community size?
Yes, because if you get enough people, like there's trans Twitter and there's black Twitter and there's like right-wing Twitter and there's like neo-Nazi Twitter.
And
But I'm talking specifically Twitter because it's so massive and it's almost ubiquitous. You have different viewpoints. And Tumblr's massive too, but it's not as massive. And so...
And Tumblr also works differently. It's
yes.
Like Tumblr, it's easier to avoid opinions that you don't like than it is on Twitter.
Yes.
You can just kind of streamline the people that you follow in a way that, like, if you block one person, then it's like, okay, or one channel of interest, and it's like, okay, I never have to see that again.
It makes constructing your echo chamber easier, and also the size of it. I think there's something there, but I don't really know what about it. But going back to the, like, how do you think, like, why has the internet polarized us, do you think? Is it because we can tailor our experience like that and believe so wholeheartedly that we're right because we choose our media feeds?
That is at least a big part of it.
Cool.
Or one of the biggest parts of it is that it's easier to put yourself in an echo chamber where it's just like everyone's circle jerking their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, is one of the reasons... That is one of the reasons that I justify within myself for wanting to be like a shock artist, is because that is a way to force people out of their echo chambers. It's like, you're going to look at this whether you like it or not, and and that's one of the reasons also, like, within my own art, I sometimes use things that I don't agree with, because the point is to make people more... It's to force people to experience things that make them uncomfortable, because that is good for society. It's good for society to be exposed, to be challenged, and because it's horrible for society to be the exact opposite, where everyone's in their echo chambers. Because that's, I mean, what is a Nazi but someone who doesn't want any other viewpoints? And because I think that's one of the things about the Nazis too. Like, I think that they came to power, or they're the way they are because it's so tied to their self-worth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you only become someone who wants to hurt other people based on their political opinions if that is like your last desperation to protect your self-identity, which is based on your political opinion.
You have to really believe that that is the correct course of action, and that other viewpoints are a direct threat to your well-being.
Because killing people is like the ultimate form of censorship.
Yeah, it is. No. I was thinking about that for some reason as I went to bed last night.
Yeah.
I was thinking about something my friend told me in high school. She was saying, like, killing someone or, like, stabbing someone with a knife is not the criminal part of murder. The criminal part is removing their agency.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
It's making a choice for them, a permanent, irreversible choice for them without their consent.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which...
Because I guess, like, if you tried to kill someone... Because, like, there are different charges for attempted murder than there are for murder.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also...
And there's, like, manslaughter, too, which is, like, it was not your idea to kill someone. It just happened.
I feel bad for people who are convicted for manslaughter. Like, what's I don't even know if that's a thing you should... I mean, maybe if you're being really irresponsible.
I think manslaughter implies that it could have been prevented had you not made some decisions. But you
like
didn't
drunk driving or something?
But you didn't decide to kill someone.
Because it's not the same.
But I don't know. Ask a lawyer about this.
My dad told me a story about a friend he knew who, like, he used to enjoy... He had a motorcycle, and he used to like running over boxes in the road. And one day, a little girl was playing in one of the boxes, and he didn't know, and he ran over her and killed her, and got arrested for, like, manslaughter and stuff.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I think what I understand of manslaughter, that is the definition of it.
Yeah, it's like you kill someone. But sometimes, I mean, that's probably a thing where it's like a very case by case thing.
Yeah, but is it a crime or is it just really unfortunate? Because, like, what could he have... What action of his was criminal and what was just a bad timing?
I don't know if it's criminal. You could argue that it was just irresponsible of him to be running over things in the road.
In the road, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, like, if there weren't any consequences, I wouldn't have thought that was such a bad thing.
But then, wouldn't that be all you could punish him for? Wouldn't the only consequence be whatever consequence there is for running over things in the road?
That's why I think it's a lesser sentence. But I think it also depends on the severity of the outcome.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't have it in me to speculate on how we should charge manslaughter.
It's difficult. I usually feel like the people who get convicted for manslaughter, the way at least I think of it, is that they're kind of a victim too, in a way. I mean, maybe that's not a good way to think of it, but that's my gut reaction, is that it's like, if I was in that situation and I accidentally killed someone, then I would feel guilty as hell, and I wouldn't feel like it's not the same as being like a murderer, you know?
Yeah, I think manslaughter implies that there was there was no motive, premeditation, or anything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a crime of passion. It was just an accident.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or it's like, it's not even necessarily someone who would be a danger to society unless they were so reckless that they did it again or something. Because, like, if something like that happens to you, you would probably become more careful.
Yeah.
At least I would probably.
But then it's just, how do you make reparations to the family that lost their loved one?
I have no idea.
Due to your accident.
That would be the worst. Guilt is like the worst feeling. Mm-hmm. It's my least favorite feeling in the world.
Guilt and shame, which are usually the same thing.
I think they're I don't know if there is a difference. I feel like guilt, to me, the way I think of it, is like about a specific thing, and shame is usually about something more general. And usually I feel like shame is about something that you can't control, but maybe that's not a necessary thing for the definition. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Maybe they're not different at all.
I feel like they're the same thing, because if you can't feel guilty without feeling ashamed. Guilt is feeling ashamed for what you've done and knowing that you've done something wrong.
Yeah. But then but shame, maybe it's a fingers and thumbs thing, because you can feel shame without feeling guilt, because it's like, I could feel ashamed of...
if people...
Like a rash on my face. You know? Or like I'm embarrassed about...
Yeah, maybe it is. It's a rectangle square. All guilt is shame, but not all shame is guilt.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And that doesn't mean... Of course there's like someone who could be legally guilty of something and not feel guilty. So you could be guilty and not feel guilt, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah, that's a legal or a conviction and not a...
Law is actually kind of interesting, you know.
Totally is.
It feels like it's boring, but it's actually kind of cool.
Well, there's so much morality tied up with it.
Yeah, ethics is a weird ass field.
It's the practical side of ethics.
Yeah.
It's how we incorporate ethics. We did it,
Really
boys. We
weird.
used Minecraft to make light of tragedy.
What's that from?
It's just a weird meme that I saw where it was like, place a bed so Kobe Bryant can respawn. Give Australia a water bucket so they can put out all their fires.
Oh my god.
And then it was just
that was the last big thing.
The 4 penguins and said, we did it, boys.
Yeah. That was the last big scary
the fires,
thing.
And then they ended, and then coronal started.
Yeah, but that wasn't... Also, the fire wasn't here, so I wasn't as worried about it.
I wasn't really worried about it. I was worried about it when Kaya was on the continent, because I didn't know where they were going to be and how much it was going to affect. But they said it was... Not that it was overhyped, but that it was misinterpreted. Like, it was a serious deal, but it wasn't threatening many major cities. Also, it was just killing all the animals.
The coronavirus is worldwide, so it's like everyone in the whole world is afraid of the same thing, and that is bizarre. It makes me feel weirdly closer to humanity. Mm-hmm. Isn't that strange?
It's time to rewatch The Thing.
I've heard Oh yeah, I do want to watch that again. I love that movie. Yeah. But that reminds me of something that my history teacher in like 9th grade said about... He was talking about when 9/11 happened. He said after it happened, it felt like you were closer to everyone, like when you went to like supermarkets and stuff. And it was like even if people that you wouldn't normally want to interact with, or like people who had different political views. It just felt like everyone's kind of together now after this big, scary, unpredictable thing happened. And I kind of feel that way now. I kind of feel like we're all together in a weird way.
Are they partying next door? It's illegal.
Is it?
The CDC said no one can have fun anymore.
Well, what if it's one person
banging in the spot?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
sure,
fine.
go ahead. We'll all just party from our houses through the windows.
Oh, hell yeah.
It'll be like that Carmel Johnson playing from another room. Oh,
yeah.
What was I saying? Law and some shit.
Yeah, it's interesting and cool.
We're past an hour. Do you want to keep going?
I kind of do. I feel like there's other things I want to talk about.
Cool. Then
It's
talk.
like, let me
talk
think.
about them. Name one.
Okay, so have you ever heard of a guy named Kenneth Anger?
No.
So he is a famous, or not really famous, semi-famous underground filmmaker from the 90s.
Huh.
And he's responsible for so many things in film, but we don't know about it as much, or he's not talked about because he's not a household name.
Is it anger like the emotion?
Yes, but he named himself that.
Cool.
And he basically invented the music video.
Really?
Like music videos didn't. Well, no, because there were music videos. Okay, he was not.
Yellow
just
Submarine.
He was not just in the. No, wait a minute. He wasn't just in the 90s. What am I talking about? He was like the because he did he was in the 50s too.
Oh.
No, he was like wait, actually, let me look this up just to make sure that I'm not getting this wrong, because like he did so much fucking stuff, and he was a huge inspiration to like a lot of like the experimental filmmakers of like David Lynch and Martin Scorsese. Let's see, Kenneth Anger, but he's a super fascinating guy. Yeah, okay, so he's old. He produced almost 40 works since 1937. And he's still alive.
Sorry, one of my professors posted about anime architecture.
Oh, yeah?
And in the comments, Gary says, Louis Sullivan meets Akira. And then
I love Gary.
And then Busby replies, "You are so highbrow, Gary. It's more..." Wait, what is SOM?
I don't know.
I don't know. But he says it's more SOM meets My Hero Academia. Why is my favorite art history professor watching my favorite anime?
Well, there you go.
This is
both words.
amazing.
Worlds.
Sorry, we're both just on our phones now. Could you repeat the thing you said about
millennials?
He produced 40 works for
something? Yeah. He said almost 40 works since 1937.
Whoa.
So he was it was older than I thought. But yeah, he also did things in the 90s, I think, because I saw a video about him and I started like reading about him and stuff. He basically invented like the music video, because before that, the idea of a music video didn't really exist, and the closest thing to a music video were like the Mickey Mouse kind of silly
Steamboat Willie
symphonies, like the Merry Melodies and stuff. But he's the guy who started making experimental films that just used random pop songs that he liked, which was like unheard of in the time, and put them together in interesting ways. And like basically every music video you see wouldn't exist if it wasn't in some way mimicking his style.
That's incredible.
And he was also like, he was one of the first openly gay filmmakers in America.
Wow.
And he got a lot of shit for that too, especially like in like the 60s and 50s and stuff.
God, I am astounded by the bravery of people who are openly gay in like any time before 10 or 20 years before now.
I would honestly still say that it's obviously easier now, but I think to say...
Still takes some bravery.
To say
I mean, of course it does.
Well, I think the problem is it's not universal. It's like it depends on where you are in the world and in the country in what state, in what county, whether or not you're in the Bible Belt, depending on what family you're in. It's like for some people it could still be as hard as it is in the 50s now to be openly gay.
Yeah, you're right. There's more uncertainty now, and granted, the uncertainty before, or the certainty that they had before was they were certain to get a negative response, basically, because they were accepting people.
Yeah.
I really love to believe in the idea that you aren't so bound by the ideas of your day, and that if you are truly accepting, you can look beyond like the prevailing opinions of your time and see what's right. But I don't know if that's true.
Oh, you mean for anyone? For yourself?
For anyone. I don't know how.
Well, you can't look beyond and see an objective view of what's right and wrong.
No, because that would make you Jesus or God or something.
What you have, though, is you have the freedom to try to come up with what you think is right and wrong for yourself instead of just believing what you've been told is right and wrong. It's like you'll no matter what the cultural zeitgeist is, you'll always have that freedom.
You can try and look at the moon versus looking at the finger. You heard that? My favorite like Buddhist expression is like words. I don't remember what it was. I think it was language. Words. Well, I think it was about language and the failings of language, and ineffability is a huge factor in Buddhism and in a lot of religions.
Ineffability. What does that mean?
It's unspeakable. You can't. There are no words to describe it, and most of life is ineffable.
Yeah.
Like the human experience is ineffable. I'm looking at the way I taped up my frame, and it looks like a funky little robot face.
Oh, it does.
It's like,
I like it.
Sorry, I got distracted. But I think it's about language and ineffability, and the Buddhist concept of language is, if the moon is truth, capital T, then all of human language is a finger pointing at the moon.
Oh, that's interesting.
And as close as you can ever get is looking at the finger.
This is the same thing as we were talking before. This is Plato's fundamental forms. Because it's,
sort of, yeah.
Because it's like human... Because have you heard the cave allegory?
Yes.
It's like that. It's like the... we can have a... Fucking... I'm tired today.
Do you want to call it in a little while?
Yeah, okay, maybe soon. And it's like, you can have like the idea of a tree, but it's like... We can't ever get to like the essence of what a tree is. All we can have are our own internal representations of what trees are.
Mm-hmm. And
that's kind of the same. It's like language is just a way of representing how we experience everything, but it's kind of like that's all we can see. Like, I don't even know if we can in this metaphor see the moon. I think all we can see is the finger, but we can like infinitesimally get closer and closer to the real thing, you know? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think about the finger pointing at the moon all the time.
I really
love the metaphor.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I would look it up to make sure I didn't butcher it, which I'm sure I did. But
Buddha say it?
A disciple maybe. I don't know. It's credited to the Buddha, I believe.
I like a lot of Buddhist stuff.
If I were going to join any organized religion, I'm pretty sure it would be Buddhism.
I think so too.
Which isn't to say, it's just the organization that, from what I know at this instant in time, seems the least problematic.
Yeah, but there also obviously can be bad Buddhists.
Oh, of course.
People who preach things and then don't do their own whatever. They don't practice what they preach.
One thing that I have been really grateful for, about Kaya is how they've gotten me to stop sort of instinctually hating organized religion.
Oh, interesting.
Because they are Catholic, very Catholic, and that's the organized religion I think I have the most problems with.
It is a big one, yeah.
But and I think I still dislike organized religion, but I no longer have an undue...
you don't have a sheeple complex.
Correct. I no longer have undue anger.
Yeah.
Or like vitriol, or
it's an understandable anger,
but towards the followers of that religion.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like,
well, it's the same thing with police we were talking about. It's like you don't have to necessarily hate a policeman as like an individual person.
But I would say the police are bad, but I don't think all policemen.
Well, that's the way I feel about like I think.
Well, like I wouldn't say
organized religion. Maybe you disagree with that. Like,
I wouldn't say all Catholics are bad.
No, yeah, me neither.
I would say the institution of Catholicism is probably bad.
Yes, that's what I believe too.
But even that is a little. I'm not willing to say that absolutely, because Kaya's gotten me to see that if the followers of a religion have acknowledged that they're the institution of the religion, which is different from the religion itself.
Oh, yeah.
Like the teachings are not an institution. The institution that teaches them is not what they are teaching.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least not entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So if the followers of any religion have done their thinking and have realized that there are problems, and have come to terms with them and are willing to acknowledge the problems, then I don't have a problem with them. But if they deny that there's anything wrong with their religion just because it's their religion, then that gets on my nerves.
The only thing I have about that is that it's like, can you have a big organization like that can consistently be so self-aware? It's like, I feel like if you're a part of a thing like that, it's probably going to come in waves where they do something bad and either realize or deny it and then maybe go back and then go back and forth or something.
Well, that's what I mean.
It's like, I think the whole concept of having anything as like a collective is immediately problematic, because I think that immediately sets you up to not thinking for yourself. Even if it doesn't necessarily have that effect, it makes it a lot more easy to do that. Or at least that's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but you know.
I'm thinking about that, and I don't know. What I mean in this case is that some of my like theology classes, and because I took the one on Buddhism and I took one called
cool.
the Question of God.
I never took either of those.
And they were both phenomenal. And those, and even more so Kaya, have gotten me to be less, I don't know, rude is the only word, like in my thinking towards religious people.
Just like less thinking that they're stupid.
Less arrogant, yeah, and less being like, oh, and dismissive. Very.
Yeah.
So yes, collectives, I think generally will have their flaws.
Yeah.
Will have plenty of flaws. But what I mean is, I'm more accepting of religious individuals, and I'm more willing to hear what they think before passing judgment.
Okay.
Way more willing. So that's what I mean. I would still agree that a lot of organized religion is kind of inherently bad because you're trying to build an institution off of someone's beliefs.
Yeah.
And often monetize that.
Yeah, well, that's a big part of it too. And I would say that like capitalism and stuff has a big part of it, but it can't say that forever, because it's like, I think like religion caused a lot of problems before capitalism was even a thing too. But I think, look, I kind of had an experience like that, but I think kind of in the other direction. It's like when I was telling you before that like I have a really conservative family, and I was more unwilling to listen to anyone when I was like really young who had like left-leaning beliefs, because I was a pretty isolated person, and I had like the echo chamber of my family. And so it was like those were the beliefs I kept hearing over and over again, and my dad's like weird roundabout explanations of why they made the most sense. And I had to warm myself up to listening to people who had like left-leaning beliefs, and then I eventually like flipped completely over.
Yeah.
But I think, because like we were talking about like the SJW thing too, it's like the same thing. Like conservatives do. I was doing the same thing. Like it was tied to my identity, because it was like, this is what my dad believes, what my family believes. And
I have got to pause right now.
Okay.
We will come back in just a second. Sorry. And we're back. Sorry.
All right. What was I talking about?
You were talking about how your beliefs flipped after warming yourself up.
Yeah, and it's like
away from your dad.
A lot of stuff. Well, like all of them, and it was like, I think I even talked about this on the podcast before, where it was like even up into like the freshman year of college, I remember thinking like, when guys wear girl clothes, it's like I didn't believe that it was wrong or that people shouldn't do it, but I justified hating it by saying that it was pretentious, or believing that it was like a pretentious thing. And I realized that I was just saying that because deep down it was something I wanted to do and experiment with, and I didn't want to accept that in myself because I was afraid of like the consequences and stuff. And I eventually like got over that. So, you know, it's like, I think a lot of stuff, when people hold on to beliefs that closely to their identity, they internalize a lot of it that way. and they kind of like project it. And that was clear projection because
I can't hold all this projection.
I was saying that they were pretentious, and I was the one being pretentious for assuming that.
Huh?
Isn't that weird?
Funny old world, innit?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. We got to this because I was talking about like Kenneth Anger. He did a bunch of other things too, though, because like so he was gay. He's
got cool.
Invented music videos.
Gay and invented music.
And he was also one of the first filmmakers to do like spliced together like not incoherent. Well, some of them were incoherent, but like non-linear stories, which is like what like David Lynch talks about him a lot and how he was like a big inspiration. And if you watch like Kenneth Anger's movies, they're like you can clearly see tropes that David Lynch has used over and over again too, which is like really cool.
Lynch tropes.
And they're also like really visually stunning. They have it depends on what decade they're in, but some of them have like a cool like super colorful acid trip 60s vibe, and some of them have more of like a like there's one called Scorpio Rising, which is like about the 50s, and it's really cool. And it's just interesting because he was also like big into magic and Satanism and witchcraft at a time when that was also like super no-no. And he was friends with like Anton LaVey and Aleister Crowley.
I don't know who either of those people are.
Anton LaVey he's a whole nother super interesting guy on his own. He was he founded the Church of Satan back in whatever. And there's so many cool stories about him. Like, he used to have a house somewhere in America. I don't remember where it was, but it was in a very pristine, like, suburban neighborhood where all the houses looked the same. And he specifically had a huge black house. It was, like, completely black. He wanted to be very, like, anti-everything.
Is that the picture I've seen of, like, one enormous black house in a very normal suburb?
I don't know. It's similar to, like, Despicable Me, but it was actually real. It was somewhere, like, in Pacific Heights or something, where people had, like, very narrow, tall houses. I don't know. That could be completely wrong. Actually, let me look it up. But that house doesn't exist anymore because it got burnt down. I think even by the government.
What, really?
It was something like that because he was super, super hated. And he had a whole bunch of weird stories because, like, he, like, owned a tiger in his house or something. He was a crazy guy. Let me see. Anton LaVey house. So it's not there anymore, which is kind of sad because it would have been cool to be able to do like tours of it. It's actually smaller than the other houses. I was wrong. That's what his house looked like or something.
Huh.
He just had like a super gothy house. Let's see what happened to it. The Black House was a building. Oh, San Francisco. So it was close. A building that formerly stood at California, San Francisco, in the United States. It was the headquarters of the Church of Satan from 1966 to 1997.
Wow.
I want to see how it got burned down. Okay. Following LaVey's death, Wikipedia says, members of the Church of Satan unsuccessfully attempted to raise funds to repurchase the house, and it was demolished on October 2001. A duplex now stands in its place. So I guess they just didn't have the money to pay for it.
Wow.
Which is interesting.
I wish it was burned down by the government. That'd be cooler.
That would have been cooler, but it's still kind of cool. But I wish it was still there. But he was like a super controversial figure during that time, much like Kenneth Anger was. And I think he might have done some film and art stuff too. And he was also friends with Marilyn Manson, he was a big influence on him as well. And then Aleister Crowley was a guy who was like even before Anton LaVey, who was really into like magic and Satanism. And I think they might have been friends too. I actually have no idea, but he was a similar figure who was like into witchcraft and magic, and he was very controversial and said a lot of like really out there things. And I like these figures a lot. Like, I gravitate towards these figures, even though if you research any of these figures and you look at some of the things that they said in different periods of time, it's like they said and did a lot of like really problematic things that like I don't agree with, and that I think even they didn't agree with. And because it's like what's his name? Kenneth Anger, like if you look at, he's still alive and there's interviews of him now and he seems like a very calm, like nice to talk to person, but that's a huge contrast to like the way he acted in his heyday and things like that. So there's this idea, I think, behind these figures of having an image that looks like you're very chaotic and dangerous and promoting things that seem like they could be potentially harmful, like lawlessness and anarchy and violence and Satanism and stuff, but doing it for the reason of like wanting to promote acceptance of different ideas by demonstrating like normalizing radical beliefs or something. You know, and I think that's what inspires me about it. And I think the sacrifice that you have to make from being one of those figures is that you're going to have to say problematic things sometimes in order to get your message across. But, you know, you can say those things and potentially risk your reputation and still be a good person and know that you're a good person or something. I think that's the kind of thing that, like, it makes me, I want to be like that kind of person, you know?
Yeah, you're concerned with being good,
but not
at all
good.
with looking good.
Yeah.
That's I respect that deeply.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that there's all these figures and there's like a common thread between them that kind of ties, because it's different than like, one thing I think that's different is that most people who are actually bad don't broadcast it because it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And people who
that's probably right.
People who, and it's also like not even the same thing as like being edgy for the sake of being edgy either, because you can be like, want to be like a bad boy, whatever, rebellious, because it's like some people do that as projection because it's like they're insecure and they want to put on that as a mask so people don't know their true feelings because maybe they're more sensitive or more feminine than you think they are, you know, like that whole stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I think really the only thing that separates it is the motivation behind it, and sometimes the motivation influences how successful the outcome is. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
It is.
I don't really know how I got onto this. It's just something that's been on my mind recently. I just like kind of wanted to talk. Green car, is that Kaya?
Yeah, they're coming to pick up some dice from me. Oh,
cool. Do you want to end the
dice?
podcast?
Yeah, why don't we?
Cool.
This was a good one. Bye.